back through some of my videos and I realized that it's been a year since I've done kind of like a beginner's guide or a beginner's product recommendation video. And since school is going to be starting soon, I thought now would be a good time to kind of revamp that video and put some more current products that you're able to get a hold of and things that I think might help, not just like going back to school, but this is going back to school, going back to college, going back to work, quick mom makeup, quick, student makeup, budget friendly makeup, multi-purpose makeup, that kind of a deal. So I thought we would just jump right into it. And the first thing I'm going to say for everybody and anybody, and you better hear me, is your sunscreen. I am using a mineral sunscreen. This is from Cetaphil. This is Broad Spectrum 30. Sunscreen is extremely important, and I say this as someone who had suffered from melanoma. Okay, so hear me and see me when I tell you, lovingly but sternly, wear your sunscreen. All right, so I'm going to put this on, and I'm doing this first so that I can let it kind of sink into the skin while I do my brows and I do my eyeshadow, because I want it to have time to kind of penetrate and sink in before I put any products on top of it. Other than a sunscreen, and if you already have like a moisturizer in your morning skincare routine, I don't really see the need for any type of primer, other than if you are extremely oily and you need something mattifying. Now that on that instance, I could understand having a separate primer from your sunscreen and or your moisturizer. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sink in. So let's go ahead and talk brows. The two products I'm gonna recommend is the Super Quick and the a little bit more detail oriented product. For Super Quick brows, I'm gonna recommend a fiber gel. This is really nice. Like, this is what I use on probably the daily when I want quick brows, but I want them to look just a little bit more fuller and defined. You see me use this pretty much every single video. So they also have one from e.l.f. if you're not able to get a hold of this one from Flower Beauty. Now, I haven't tried the e.l.f. one, so I don't know if it's exactly similar to this, but I have seen a lot of glowing reviews on that product on Amazon, on YouTube. So that is something to consider if you're looking for this type of product. I even think Wet n Wild may have just come out with one. It's in a white tube with like black and pink writing. But again, I have not tried that product, so I can't give you, exact product reviews on those. So this is my recommendation for quick brows. If you want something that's a little bit more defined, a really cheap, nice brow pencil is the Wet n Wild retractable brow pencils. I have mine in the shade Ash Brown. I am going to go ahead and use this today. This is for, like I said, a little bit more detail work. If you want your brows a little bit more defined, you really want a precise shape to your brow. Like, I'm going to draw my shape and then go back and kind of fill in with this retractable brow pencil. e.l.f. also has a really nice instant lift brow pencil, which I believe is $2. Really, what's going to be the defining factor for your brow pencil is 1, availability, 2, the cost, and 3, the shade, because not all shade ranges are the same from each makeup brand. So for me right now, where I'm kind of in this weird color phase with my hair, this ash brown shade from Wet n Wild has really been doing the trick, because it's not so dark brown that it looks unnatural on my brows, but it's not so blonde that it also, again, looks unnatural in my brows. Because, I mean, I do naturally have very blonde brows. So again, this can be quick, just depending on how much precision you want, but it's a little bit more detailed than the fiber brow gel, which I'll go ahead and just put some of that on top just for funsies. So I'm just going to kind of brush that through. This will also help to keep my brows in place. And I even kind of use it to shape, like, and then get that little bit of a curve. And there we go. Brows are good. So these are my 2 brow recommendations for getting back into school. Beginner's makeup. Price conscious, whatever you want to call it. So something I'm definitely going to recommend is a good eyeshadow primer. I know some people tend to use concealer for eyeshadow primer, but for me that just doesn't work. the ones I've tried are all too drying and just kind of make my eyelids look crusty. So, you know, Milani Eyeshadow Primer. I use this constantly and consistently because I feel like it does a good job of allowing my eyeshadow to remain on my eyelids longer than if I went without. Now, I know there's one from CoverGirl. I have not tried, but Juicy Jazz on YouTube has talked about it a lot. There was an older one from e.l.f., but I think they discontinued it. I personally didn't care for it. I have tried an eyeshadow primer from Believe Beauty, which is the brand exclusive to Dollar General. I also didn't really care for it. It was like just a tinge too on the oily side. This is just like a nice middle ground, so this is the only one that I can directly recommend to you that I like and use. Okay, for eyeshadow, I have a couple different ones I'm going to share with you because I feel like these are going to give you versatility but also be quick and easy and not overwhelming like some larger eyeshadow palettes. So for one, I have this one from LA Girl, which you can usually find LA Girl at CVS or online or at Ulta, I believe. So this is the Keep It Playful Eye Palette, and this is in the shade Downplay. Now the reason I picked this one is specifically because of all of these kind of brown tan neutral tones and then these little pops of color. So I feel like you could really get a nice neutral look from this, but then you have the option of kind of playing it up with some of these shimmers. Another option that I have is the Wet n Wild Coloricon palettes, where they have redone them into these 5-pan palettes. This one is Walking on Eggshells. It is a remake of an old palette from them, which used to be a quad. These are really nice. I've tried this one. I've tried Camouflaunt. That one I didn't care for one of the shades, but this one works pretty nicely. Another one I'm going to show you is the e.l.f. Bite Size Shadow. This is a quad, and this is in Cream and Sugar. Again, some of those neutral colors, but you have the option to add some pop with these two shades. And then the last one I'm going to show you, this is from Revolution Beauty. I actually had to order this from them, but this is their quad in Exposed. Really like this. Very nice neutral tones, but with a little pop. Basically, that's the gist of picking an eyeshadow palette. But also, I specifically picked these because of the price point. These are under, I think these are $3, and these are $2.99 or $3.99. So these eyeshadows are going to be the cost-efficient choices. So for today, I am going to go in with the e.l.f. Cream and Sugar Bite Size Palette. So what I'm going to do is take just a little bit of this shade. It's a shimmery gold shade. And then I'm just going to lightly pop into that shade, tap it off. And this is what I'm going to place into the crease. Because it is shimmery, I don't want to go in with that shade alone. But I don't want a lot of that dark shade either, because it could very easily become too overpowering. So there we have the crease. Then I'm going to take a different brush, and I am going to pop into some of this lightest shade and just kind of blend that out into my eyebrow. Okay, then for all over the lid, I am going to go in with this gold shade and this silver shade and kind of just dip into both of them, and I'm going to place that all over the lid. And these are colors that if you would like them to be a little bit more vibrant, you always could wet your brush, and that's definitely going to give you a little bit more pigment from these colors. And then I am going to take a little bit of this darkest brown shade on this very thin small brush and pack that into the outer corner. And then I just like to take my finger and kind of blend over. And there we go. Easy peasy. Now, you could go even more simple than that and just use one of these shades all over your lid. I mean, you could really make it quick and user-friendly and time-sensitive friendly as well if you need to. So they have other shades in this. They have like a berry shade, a pumpkin spice shade, a carnival shade. There's different options to this, and I feel like with some of, like, okay, this one and truffles, I feel like can stand alone, but some of the palettes need an extra shade or more to be a complete palette, and I don't feel like you have that issue with this one and truffles. But of course, the option there is to use like your bronzer in the crease and then to use the colors in the palette. Now, if you look at this one from Wet n Wild, you have like your crease color, deepening color, lid color, blending color, outer V color. So you just got to kind of look at them and weigh your options as to what colors do you need to complete the look that you're wanting. Now for mascara. Mascara is a very personal thing as to what kind of mascara you like. Me personally, I'm all about the mascaras from Essence. As far as the drugstore, I have tried the Sky High mascara. I didn't care for it. Tried the Air Volume from L'Oreal. Didn't care for it. I have tried the NYX on the Rise. I like it. What other ones have I tried? Let me just give you a full rundown. Okay, I have grabbed quite a few mascaras, and here is what I can tell you. I am definitely an Essence mascara gal. You can find this at Ulta. They're usually under $5. I definitely would stick with the Lash Princess line or this line from them. The new Panda Eyes one, I haven't seen good reviews on. Yeah, so I would just stick with the Lash Princess or these two right here. So those are great. Okay, Air Volume, didn't care for it, very wet. The e.l.f. Lash It Loud, didn't care for it, didn't get as much out of it as I had hoped to. Let's see, this Revlon So Fierce is not bad, but it's definitely not the best that I've tried. Let's see, what else? This one from Milani, this highly rated mascara, actually surprised me. I actually really did enjoy this mascara from them. Haven't tried any other ones. And like I said, the NYX on the Rise, I actually really do like this mascara. Tried the Sky High from Maybelline. It's not my favorite. It just, I don't know. I think the hype around it was a little much, if you ask me. I did purchase this one from L'Oreal, the Voluminous Curve Brush. I wasn't thrilled with it the first time I tried it, but it's definitely one that I need to try again because I've only tried it once. So from the drugstore, I would say the traditional Maybelline Lash Sensational is a good one. The NYX on the Rise is a good one. I know I've heard good things about the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. For me, that one gives me a headache. I really haven't had much success with any other mascaras coming from e.l.f. or Wet n Wild. So if you have an Ulta, I would say one of your best bets is going to be to grab you one of these from Essence. The price is great. A lot of times they will have these on sale, like buy two get one free or buy one get one 50% off. And these mascaras, they really are good. It's kind of amazing that they're this good for such a low price point, and that shows that you don't have to spend big ticket money to get products that perform well. That's my recommendation on that. So now that we've done eyes and eyebrows, let's go ahead and talk about face. Again, don't forget your sunscreen. Also, like I said earlier, not really going to stress about a primer if you already have an existing moisturizer, unless you need something that is mattifying. Right now, because it is still hot outside, I'm not really recommending a full-blown foundation because that is just going to slick right off your face, or at least it does for me. What I'm going to recommend is more of a tinted hydrator. For me, I have this one from Wet n Wild. This is their tinted hydrator, tinted skin veil. It is oil-free and sheer to medium coverage. And what I really like about this is that you can go in with your fingers, especially if you are in a rush. If you can find your shade in this, this really is a nice product. Mine is in the shade Porcelain. Now, there are fewer shades of this than what you would traditionally find with a foundation. Because it is a sheer coverage, you can kind of get, not always, but you can kind of get away with less color options. Like looking at this in the tube, this is way too peachy yellow for me, but when I shear it out onto my skin, it doesn't look that way. Like it's not so full coverage that pigment is super opaque. Like it just gives me a nice even coverage to my skin. And yes, you can still see some of my redness coming through, but I'm okay with that. This isn't the super full coverage product. Like I said, this is just giving me kind of a more even skin tone. Now, if you are someone who doesn't want to go in with your hands, my favorite beauty sponge from the drugstore is from e.l.f. This Total Face Sponge, I believe, is my absolute favorite. I repurchase it constantly. I used to like these ones from Wet n Wild, that after using these are just a little bit softer. These aren't bad, especially like for powder and stuff, but my preferred one is the Total Face Sponge from e.l.f. So I am just going to lightly go over, kind of pat this in, and there we have it. Now, on the front of concealer, I've got 3 here, and let me explain to you why. The first one I have is this e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. This is what I use on quick days. I just put a little bit under my eyes, and it does do what it says. It gives me a little bit of brightening, and I feel like when I'm doing light coverage, that's really what I need, is just some brightness under my eyes. Now, if I want a little bit more coverage, like say I want to add a little bit of coverage onto my cheeks or whatever, this is always a tried and true, the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and mine is in the shade 095 Cool Ivory. This is a great product. And then another one that I like, especially if you are more oily, is more of a stick concealer. This is the Almei Skin Perfecting Comfort Concealer, and this is like an old school product. But this is in the shade 100 Fair, and this will definitely give you coverage. And if you are more oily skinned, this is the texture of this stick one is going to be a little bit thicker, and I feel like it's going to last better on your skin. But for me today, I am going to go ahead and go in with the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening, and mine is in the shade, I don't even know. Is there the shade name on here? Fair 10C. So I literally just take some of this, plop it under my eyes, and as you can see, it's not super full coverage, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking for, like I said, a little bit of brightness, and this on top of the Wet n Wild is going to give me just a little bit more coverage over the redness on my cheeks. So I'm just going to dab that in. And as you can see, like, it is giving me that brightness and reflection from the concealer. Now, has it completely covered my purple? No. But it's giving me a nice brightness and lift under my eyes, which is what I want with this kind of more sheer tinted hydrator, tinted moisturizing product. Now that we have concealer on, let's talk about powder. I'm looking, there it is. So I'm going to share with you these 2 powders and explain why. If you are wanting something that is going to give you a little bit more coverage, especially if you are somewhere that is still mandating mask or you need to wear a mask, I would recommend the L'Oreal Infallible Foundation in a Powder. I think that this will, number 1, give you extended coverage. It will give you extended wear onto your makeup under your mask, because obviously when you have that mask on, there's going to be some condensation and wetness from your breath and whatnot. Also, the reason I suggest this is because it does have shades, so it's not just like translucent, fair, medium, deep. Like, there's actual shades in this, so hopefully you can find something that will best match your skin tone. So I have mine in the shade Pearl. Then another powder that I'm going to recommend if you aren't needing that much coverage per se, but you want something to kind of help extend the wear of your makeup, because again, we still are in these hotter months, I'm going to recommend the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop Mattifying Powder, and this is in the shade Fair, and this is what I'm going to wear today, and I have been wearing this a lot and I really like it. And again, I think that this does have some shades, not as many as the powder foundation, but still, hopefully you're able to find something that will work for you. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of this under my eyes. And of course, before you set your face, you always want to make sure that you don't have any creasing, because once you set your face, you're going to also set the crease. The spots for me that I really have to hit is around my nose, because I do wear glasses, or if I'm going outside and I have contacts, I'm going to have to wear sunglasses, because these baby blues just can't take the sunlight. So I'm going to hit up in here. I'm going to hit over here because this is where I tend to sweat when I start stressing. Normally I wouldn't use a mattifying powder, but like I said, right now with it being hot, I do feel like this kind of, like at first it looks to be like a little too much, but as the day goes on, it helps the wear of my makeup underneath because I am getting hot and sweating and all that. Okay, let's talk blush, contour, bronzer, and highlight. if you have a Walmart, I'm going to recommend you checking out Profusion. Okay, Profusion has the highlight and contour palette. They have a 1 and 2, so there should be this one, which is lighter shades, and another one that is darker shades, as well as their blush 1 palette and a blush 2, and maybe even a blush 3. I'm not 100% sure. But the reason I'm recommending this is because each of these palettes is $5. And in the highlight and, well, let's start with the blush. Okay, in the blush, you are getting 6 shades. And then down here, I think that this bronze it shade could be a highlighter for someone with darker skin, or you can kind of like tap into different pans and kind of customize your look. But I feel like for $5 to have all of these different shades, you're going to be able to mix what shade you want. You're not going to get bored with this option, because sometimes depending on what I'm wearing, I don't want a super pink blush, or I don't want a super corally blush, or I want a matte blush and not a shimmery blush. And in this, you're getting those options. We have these matte shades, these shimmery shades, and then these kind of almost highlighty shades, but it's customizable. And what I like is that you're getting a lot of bang for your buck and getting 6 options for for $5. So today what I'm going to do is mix these two, which is Bashful and Delight. So I'm just going to kind of tap into both, and then I'm going to tap this on, and then swirl. And like I said, I'm kind of customizing my shade to what I want for today. And with someone who is wanting to be quick and out the door, I'm going to recommend this over a cream product, because cream products, depending on which one you get, can require a little bit more finesse than just a traditional powder product. So if you have a Walmart, definitely check these out. Their eyeshadow palettes actually, their eyeshadow palettes are really good too. I have this one in mauves, $5, and I have this one in emeralds, $5. They do have one, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but it's like, is it called Classic Nudes? It's like, you know, very much on the spectrum of this LA Girl palette if you can't get a hold of LA Girl. And again, $5. So let's talk about highlight, contour, bronzer, all that goodness. So I have their highlight and contour palette 1 because it's the lighter shades. So up top we have 3 different options for highlighter. We have this very champagne-y color, this pinkish color, and a more traditional gold color. And you may not want to wear contour, or highlighter, and that's totally fine. But if you do, you just can't beat the options and the price of this product. Alright, so I am going to tap into this color, and I'm just going to pop a little bit right here. And this is Impulse. And honestly, going back to the eyeshadow that we used, if you're really balling on a budget and say you already have like a bronzer at home or whatever and you don't want to buy this, you could always take this shade right here as your highlighter if your skin tone is similar to mine. So just throwing that out there. Alright, but if you are going to get this, you can choose from these 3 options, or like with the blush, kind of customize, dip into different colors, whatever you want. Also, the reason I like this is because there is a powder in here. Say you're someone who just needs a little bit of powder under the eyes or in the T-zone. You always could potentially use this if it goes well with your skin tone. But for me, I am going to take some of this Tan Sculpt color, which is right here, and I am going to use that to contour. Okay, I'm just going to go over with my sponge a little bit. I'm even going to take just a little bit of that down the sides of my nose, like just ever so slightly to get that shadow when I face forward. Then I'm going to take the Light Sculpt and use that as bronzer. Now this does work for me again because I am fair skinned, but there's also the Highlight and Contour 2 palette, so those shades might work better for you as well. Or if you're deeper skin tone, you may be able to use this Tan Sculpt as your bronzer. Bronzed up, and again, you can't beat the price of these for the options that you get. I mean, 6 pans for $5. And again, their eyeshadows are really good too. So that's definitely, if you have a Walmart that has a Profusion, I would give them a look. All right, so let's talk about lips. All right, so let's talk lips. Right now, with it being hot and masks still being something that we are dealing with, I'm going to recommend a lip stain. Now, the one I have here is from Flower Beauty. This is their Bitten Lip Stain, and this is in the shade Tempt. I also have this in the shade Koi. So the reason I like lip stains are that it is what it says. It's a lip stain. So let me apply this. Okay, so that looks pretty reddy pink, right? After you let it sit for a little while, it is going to stain your lips. So regardless of putting a mask over your face or sweating or eating, that color is going to remain because it has stained your actual lip. Okay, so now I have color, and there's different shades, and like I said, you don't have to go specifically with Flower Beauty, but they do have these options. You could potentially go with matte lips, but those can kind of be more intensive in application, whereas this lip stain isn't so involved. Like, you don't have to be so precise and precarious when you're applying it, so it's a little bit quicker. But for me, these have been working really well right now. I can throw it on pretty quickly, and the color is going to last. All right, is that everything? Have we covered everything? I think we have. So these are my back to school, back to college, back to work, quick makeup, budget conscious makeup. Wear your sunscreen. Okay, do it for me. All right, so that is all of my recommendations. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you will like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments, what is one product for you that is an absolute must, whether it's the application of the product, the price of the product, the availability, the shade range, whatever it is. Let me know down below. What are your thoughts on that? So thank you for watching. Bye-bye.